Nestled amongst the beautiful Wolfberg Mountains, the 21,000-hectare Bewaarkloof Nature Reserve appears to have been completely neglected and abandoned. There is no electricity, fencing or water, and illegal squatters are using the reserve as a pasture for their cattle and to collect timber for firewood. This does not, however, detract from the natural beauty of the landscape and the pass itself, which is an access road into the reserve, and it's well worth seeking out if you're a dedicated and intrepid pass hunter. Being an out-and-back route, you'll have to start the pass from the coordinates as defined in our fact file. However, to take advantage of the lighting conditions, we filmed this pass from north to south, and we've described it in this direction as well. The pass begins in the north, on the banks of the Limpopo River, with the most difficult section of the route with some deep ruts and washaways. Use four-wheel drive here if your vehicle is so equipped. There are some abandoned buildings on either side of the road which are occupied by squatters. The road heads in an easterly direction, meandering through some sharp turns and curves, and then turns into the southeast and follows a straight section for 300 meters through some heavily overgrown thorn trees, all the while climbing steadily. Keep a sharp lookout for cattle all along this route. The summit of the pass is reached at the 650-meter mark, easily identifiable by a steep bank with a drop-off just on the apex of a sharp bend. The road now heads in a southerly direction for a few hundred meters, then makes a sharp turn to the right through 120 degrees, taking you into a westerly heading back towards the river. The descent that follows is by far the steepest section of the pass, and this part of the road is rough and rocky. It shouldn't present any problems, however, unless it's been raining. The route then swings back to the left into the south, and the gradient decreases. The road runs parallel to the river at this point, so be particularly vigilant and aware in case of animals. More abandoned farm buildings are visible on the left, and there's much evidence of illegal wood gathering all along this section. Still descending, although at a very mild gradient, the road makes a very long curve to the right, following the course of the river. The vegetation along the sides is not as thick at this point, allowing you good views of the surrounding mountains. There are some gravestones on the left, and the white buildings of what was at some stage a very large and beautiful farmhouse appear in the distance ahead of you. Although you might be tempted to stop here and explore to take photographs, we believe that this would be unwise and potentially dangerous. This farmhouse is at the 2.4 kilometer mark. Now heading west, the road surface improves and the vegetation opens up somewhat, presenting the very tall mountains on the western side of the reserve. The road runs arrow straight through an avenue of low trees for about 1 kilometer, then follows a long gradual curve through 90 degrees back towards the south. The river is visible through the bush on your right-hand side. The bush closes in and forms a complete canopy, dappling the road in constant flashes of sunlight and shadow. The trees are much taller here because of their proximity to the river. Again, watch out for cattle throughout this section. This obscure pass is not everyone's cup of tea, but if you do take the time and trouble to get here, you won't be disappointed. It's a great pity that through apathy and lack of funding, this beautiful reserve has been allowed to degenerate to such an extent. We issue a cautionary for this pass to not drive it alone. We recommend 2 to 3 vehicles. Check that your spare wheel and tools are in order, as there's a chance of getting a puncture. As you exit the canopy section, the road follows a very gentle S-bend, first turning left and then right, and suddenly the bridge over the river, which marks the end and start point of the pass, comes into view. Stop on the bridge and take some photographs. The views in both directions are spectacular.